figured out how to disappear.
And every story can change the world. Together we are Global Speakers Talk.
When I was in the 9th grade, I figured out how to disappear in plain sight. I had a routine, 4 different walking patterns, 4 different routes to every class. Monday was one way, Tuesday was another, Wednesday was a third, Thursday was the fourth. By Friday, the cycle started over. I did this because the bullies were waiting for me. I had learned that even if I never walked the same hallway on the same day of the week, they could not find me. So I disappeared. A loud, visible, fully present kid taught himself how to vanish in plain sight. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Visible and disappeared. Here is the thing about disappearing in plain sight. If you're honest with yourself, you have done the same version of it too. You have learned the 4 walking patterns of your own life. You have learned which rooms require which version of you. You have learned how to be present enough to be useful, but quiet enough to be safe. You have learned how to disappear in plain sight. This talk is about what it costs to keep walking those patterns into adulthood and what becomes possible when you stop. I call it the innermost rebellion. We were taught belonging by being taught to leave parts of ourselves at the door, to be smaller, to be smoother, to be easier. That was the bargain. The price of admission into every room we wanted to be in, every classroom, every dinner table, every conference room, every stage. I learned the bargain young. The first part of me I left at the door was in the 7th grade. I had a crush on a boy in my class. I wanted to kiss him. I did not. The church told me my sexuality was an abomination. The world around me was making sure I understood the rules, so I edited. Years later, I found out that that boy was gay too. He was afraid in the same room I was afraid in. I don't live in regret. I would not be the person speaking with you today if my path had been easier. Still, that 7th grade classroom is where the editing started. And once you learn how to edit, you forget how to stop. My grandfather taught me on our family farm in southern New Jersey that people who worked the land alongside of us were human beings worthy of dignity. I carried that lesson into every room I entered. I gave my teams human dignity. I gave it to the communities I served. I forgot to give it to Christopher. Early in my career, I planted a flag. I started insisting that people called me Christopher, not Chris. Not for vanity, for survival. Every time someone said Chris, they were calling for a younger man, a smaller man, a man who was still trying to be acceptable in rooms that were never built to hold him. Every time someone said Christopher, they were calling for the man I was choosing to become. The first time I corrected someone publicly, I was on a stage in front of a room of HR executives. Someone called me Chris. I corrected them out loud in front of the room. I had never had a single person push back, not one. What I had was dozens of people come up to me afterward and say, "Thank you. I have a name I have been letting people get wrong for years. Watching you correct yours gives me the permission to correct mine." That is the thing about the outer rebellion. When you stop disappearing, you give other people permission to stop disappearing too. I thought I had done the work. I had not. What I learned slowly and painfully is that you can plant a flag with your name and still spend the next decade editing what it stands for, what it stands behind it. The outer rebellion was real. The innermost rebellion was still waiting. In my career, I survived cancer. The treatment left me with a hormonal imbalance that affected my emotional regulation. I hid it. I thought if my employer knew I was struggling, I would be seen as less of a professional. So instead of being supported through my recovery, I was labeled. People said I was not nice. People said I did not have executive presence. When I finally told the truth, some people understood, some people did not. The damage was done in the silence. I could not be fully repaired. For 15 years, I lived with depression that I did not know I had. 15 years, 15 years of trying to be perfect Christopher for everyone, the polished version, the smoother version, the smaller version, the version that did not inconvenience anyone with the truth of what was actually happening inside my body and my mind. And then one day I saw a photograph. I was standing on a stage with a group of executives. Someone had taken a picture and sent it to me. I looked at it. I did not recognize the man in the photograph. He was tired. He was performing. He was disappearing in plain sight. I had given every person in that photograph human dignity. I had not given it to the man wearing my name. That is the moment the innermost rebellion came due. My doctors told me I needed to take control of my health, both kinds. The body I was living inside was failing the treatment that was trying to save it. The mind I was living inside was quietly drowning for over a decade. I came to a crossroads. When I looked right, I saw darkness. When I looked forward, I saw the version of my life where I kept walking the four patterns, where I kept editing, where I kept paying the bargain until there was nothing left in the savings account for me to spend. When I looked left, I saw sunlight. I went toward the sunlight. I found a therapist. I started treatment for the depression that I had not known I had. I found a medical team. I started a plan to take back control of my weight, a plan that included bariatric surgery. The weight came off. The joy came in. The therapist helped me see that I had been chasing a perfect version of myself for the benefit of everyone in the room, except the one person who lived inside my own skin. Perfection, it turns out, was the cage. Imperfection was the joy where joyful living happens. This was the rebellion that no one applauded for. This was the rebellion I had to do alone. No one comes up to you after a meeting and says, "Thank you for noticing your depression." No one congratulates you for letting the perfect version of yourself be known. The outer rebellion is loud. The innermost rebellion is quiet. The outer rebellion gives people permission. The innermost rebellion gives it back to you. I've been saying something for years that I want you to take with you. Belonging is knowing, not a feeling. Most people chase the feeling. The feeling is unreliable. The knowing is what stays when the knowing is what stays when the feeling leaves. The knowing is the foundation. The knowing comes from a practice, a daily practice, deliberate practice of belonging to yourself first. This is not self-care. This is not self-love. Those are products. They are sold in candles, in journals, and weekend retreats. They are not bad. They are also not enough. I built a formula for belonging years ago. I've spent my career applying it outward to teams and to cultures and to organizations. And I am here to tell you it works inward too. Include yourself. Give yourself grace. Grant yourself equity. Stop measuring yourself against a standard built for somebody else. Diversify the parts of you that get to show up. Own all of your identities, not just the ones that fit in the room. Make yourself accessible to yourself. Slow down enough to find the person living inside your own life. Do yourself justice. Hold yourself accountable to your own ideals, not just the one the world tries to assign to you. You will know you are doing the work when you start noticing the editing. You will know you are practicing when you start refusing it. You will know you have embodied it when other people around you start telling you that watching you live it made them safer to live it too. In early 2026, I got a golden retriever puppy named Stanley. I told myself I was not ready. I did not have the time. I did not have the energy. I was wrong on so many levels in every account. Stanley taught me something simple. There is always time. The question is only whether you will make it. There is always time to come home to yourself. One quick fun thing before I close. If you can't tell I'm gay within the first 5 minutes of talking to me, I don't need to come out to you. I have done the work. Harvey Milk said that it is time to give them hope. That is what this talk is about. Hope. Hope that you can stop walking the four patterns. Hope that you can stop paying the bargain. Hope that the patterns, hope that the parts of you that you have been leaving at the door for years are still there waiting for you to come back and collect them. Here is your call to action. In the next 24 hours, find the one part of your identity that you are still wrestling with. The one you keep at the door of certain rooms, the one that is still smaller than it deserves. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to perform it. Just sit with it long enough to ask one question: why? When you know you belong to yourself, you also know which rooms are not for you. You stop trying to earn your way into rooms that have never been built to hold all of you. You stop disappearing in plain sight. You start walking the same hallway every day because you no longer need to hide. You belong here, not because they let you in, because you brought yourself with you. Thank you for listening.
Together we are global speakers talk.